My boyfriend of 16 years still treats me like a side chick. My boyfriend Rick and I own a home together. Even though we own a home together and have been together for 16 years, I still feel like just a roommate or even just a FWB to him, like he can't really commit to me. Here are some things he does that kind of make me question whether he's really in this or not with me. Though we live together and own a home together, we keep our bank accounts separate. He also insists on paying the mortgage by himself, with his own account, every month. I pay some utilities and buy groceries, almost as though I'm paying rent to live in his home. Rick has not allowed me to put any personal touches on our home. Though we've lived in it for a while, it looks the same as when we moved in, with the exception of the room his computer is in, which is decorated to his liking. Every time I mention something we could do or show him something I like, he either tells me it's dumb or says he doesn't like it. I don't push him because I don't want to start an argument. There is a room in our house which he does not let me enter. He says it's his secret space and he does not want anyone inside it. The one time I have tried to come in while he was in there, he shut the door as soon as it creaked open an inch and he yelled at me from inside the room telling me I was being very disrespectful. Rick and I recently got engaged. Now, I know that doesn't scream commitment issues, but hear me out. A few years ago a couple of close friends of ours got engaged. I was upset because I've had to watch all of my friends get married after being with their boyfriends for much shorter periods of time. Rick caught on to the bad mood I was in during their engagement and wedding, and I told him why I was upset. So a week after their wedding he agreed to get me a ring. I went with him to buy it. I thought I was finally getting somewhere, but he told me it wasn't an engagement, and that I could wear it, but he'd ask me to marry when he was ready. It's like he bought the ring to shut me up about marriage. After months of his friends cracking jokes about our non-engagement, he finally just decided one night while we were at home that it could be official. He said he had a huge plan to surprise me by proposing, but I never heard anything else about it. It wasn't my dream proposal and he actually did it right after some terrible intimacy, but it was finally happening so I said yes. He insisted on a long engagement, at least a year, and didn't want to set a date at first. I began planning and looking at wedding stuff because I figured it would eventually happen, but he never seemed interested. It's been about 14 months and we picked a date, with much pushing on my part, but he wants nothing to do with any wedding planning unless it's to voice his dislike of something I've done. He spends most of his days on his computer when he's not at work, and if he does happen to come out to see me, he goes right back shortly after if I so much as bring up the wedding. He has very strong opinions about what our wedding shouldn't be, but doesn't want to talk about the wedding at all to give me an idea of what he does want. Every idea I have for the wedding gets shot down, with just last week him asking me not to invite my mother because he doesn't know her that well. It's almost as though he's trying to stop the wedding from ever happening by making sure I can't plan it. He told my close friend's husband that he regrets proposing because I've been going crazy about the wedding, and that he wouldn't have proposed had he known what I was going to act like. Like what? He's surprised that wedding planning takes place after you get engaged? I don't think I'm going overboard about any of it, but it's a huge deal to me. I've spent over half of my life with this man and I've always dreamed of a huge wedding. I just don't know what to do. It's like he agrees to commit to me in certain ways, but when it comes to actually doing anything concrete he can't do it. Update 1. I decided to cut my losses and leave Rick. I hired a lawyer and moved out one day while Rick was at work. Because my name is on the title and the mortgage, my lawyer assures me he either has to sell the house and split the profit with me, or buy me out. I know he can't afford to buy me out, so I assume we'll put it up for sale. I get most of my things out of the house, except for a vanity and a dresser that are too heavy for my friends and I to move. I moved out the day before Halloween. Since then, I've messaged Rick a few times to see what we're going to do about the house and to schedule a time to come pick up the rest of my furniture. He's pretty evasive about all of it, so last Thursday I showed up at the house with some friends to help me get my stuff. He's changed the locks, so I can't get in. We waited for him to get off of work and come back, and he lets me in to get my stuff. All he said before he let me in was "You asked for this, so I don't want to hear it." I didn't know what he meant. I was absolutely not prepared to walk through that door, but when I did it became obvious why he didn't want me to come pick up my stuff. I didn't even recognize the house that I lived in just a week prior. It was painted, there was furniture and art and things everywhere, and I could tell by looking around that Rick didn't do this by himself. There are pictures of him and some random woman all over the place. They have to go back at least a year, because one of them was taken on New Year's. I just left. I can buy more furniture, but I couldn't spend a second more in that house. Rick texted me right after I left saying "We're not selling, we're just going to buy you out." I was at a complete loss for words. I'm still in shock. I spent 16 years with that a-hole, and he was with someone else for who knows how long. I'm trying to get over it the best I can, but it's hard. It would be hard leaving just because we've been together so long, but to find out that your life was pretty much a lie was a hard pill to swallow.